The wind swept through the wide valley like an old ghost, tugging at the hem of her faded dress as she pressed another crooked fence post into the dry earth. The sun hung low and hot, burning her neck, but she didn't stop. She couldn't. The wire sliced through the skin of her palm, and the sting made her blink away tears that were not from pain alone. Emma Walker was 6 months pregnant and alone in a land too big for one broken heart to fill. Her husband, Jacob, had died that spring when his horse stumbled on a gopher hole down by the creek. One second he was alive, laughing, calling her name. The next, silence, just the wind and that awful emptiness. The neighbors had come around at first, bringing pies and pity, but pity didn't fix fences or feed livestock. So she'd rolled up her sleeves, pushed down her fear, and kept going. Every nail, every post, every drop of sweat felt like defiance against the loneliness that tried to swallow her whole. The child inside her kicked just then, strong and stubborn, and she whispered, "It's all right, baby. Mama's got us." Her voice broke, but she forced a smile. She didn't need anyone, not anymore. At least that's what she told herself when the nights grew long and the coyotes howled. She didn't notice the rider at first. The dust cloud rose quiet behind her until the creak of saddle leather broke through the whistle of the wind. Emma straightened, shading her eyes. A tall man on a chestnut horse slowed near the fence line, hat pulled low, eyes dark beneath the brim. He looked like the land itself, weathered, steady, carrying too many miles behind him. "Morning," he called, voice deep as thunder. Emma nodded curtly. "Afternoon. Looks like that post's fighting back." He swung off the horse, boots crunching dry grass. "I can handle it," she said quickly, turning away. He smiled faintly, the kind that didn't reach his eyes. "Didn't say you couldn't." He stood a moment, silent, watching her work. When she finally glanced at him again, she saw the faint scar along his jaw, the kind that told stories better left untold. "Name's Cole McAllister," he said at last. "I run the double M over that ridge." "I know," Emma replied, wiping sweat from her brow. "I don't need charity, Mr. McAllister." He chuckled softly. "Didn't offer any. Just thought maybe you could use a hand before the sun takes you down." Her jaw tightened. Pride was the only thing she had left, and it stood taller than any fence she could build. "I said I'm fine." Cole studied her trembling hands, her hollow cheeks, the way she tried to lift a post heavier than her frame should allow. "You're expecting," he said quietly, more statement than question. She stiffened. "That's none of your concern." "Maybe not. But that baby'll need a strong mama come winter. Be a shame if you wore yourself out before then." Something in his voice wasn't pity. It was understanding. A quiet kind of hurt that mirrored her own. She looked at him for a long second, then turned back to the fence. "You don't know what shame is, Mr. McAllister." He leaned against the rail, eyes on the horizon. "I buried my wife 3 winters ago. Guess I got an idea." The hammer slipped from her hand. For a heartbeat, the world stood still, 2 broken souls standing in the middle of nowhere, bound by silence heavier than grief itself. "I'm sorry," she whispered. He nodded. "So am I." The horse stamped the ground, impatient. Cole sighed, glancing toward the mountains. "You keep working like this, Emma Walker, and you'll end up under this dirt instead of fixing it." She bit her lip. "You got a better idea." He looked at her, really looked, and said, "Yeah. Come work my land instead. I'll pay fair. Room and board till you get your feet under you." She almost laughed. "You think I'd trade one ranch for another? You think I'd take a man's mercy like a stray dog?" "No," he said, voice low. "I think you'd take a chance if it meant your baby got to grow up in one piece." Her throat tightened. The wind carried the faint sound of a hawk crying overhead, and for a moment, she wanted to scream with it. But the truth settled heavy in her chest. She was tired. So damn tired. "I don't want your land," she said finally. "Just peace." Cole tipped his hat. "Then maybe peace is what I'm offering." He turned to mount his horse, but her voice stopped him. "Why me?" There's others need help more than I do. He met her eyes. Because I know what it's like to lose everything and keep pretending you ain't lost at all. Emma's heart pounded. No one had ever said it out loud before. The sun dipped behind the ridge, painting the sky in gold and rose. She stood there, gripping the fence, watching him ride away. And for the first time in months, she didn't feel invisible. She felt seen. That night, as the stars burned bright over the valley, Emma sat on her porch with her hands resting on her belly. The baby kicked again, and she whispered, "Maybe tomorrow, we'll see that man again." She didn't know if it was hope or fear blooming inside her, but it was something. And something was more than nothing. In the quiet hum of crickets and the lonely song of the wind, she thought of his offer. His voice lingered like a promise. Maybe peace really was possible. Maybe love could bloom again in the dust. She looked toward the mountains, where the rancher's land slept under the moonlight. "We'll find out soon enough," she murmured. And for the first time since Jacob's death, Emma dreamed of tomorrow. The morning sun rose over the Double M ranch like a prayer answered in gold. Dew clung to the sagebrush, and the soft murmur of cattle echoed through the valley. Emma Walker stood at the edge of the pasture, her hands resting on the small of her aching back. Her belly had grown heavy now, the child restless beneath her ribs. She had been here for 3 months, 3 quiet, surprising months. Cole had kept his word. Room, board, fair pay. No pity, no questions, no strings. But peace was a strange thing. It scared her as much as it soothed her. Each dawn, when she saw him riding out to check the herds, his silhouette against the morning light stirred something deep inside her she tried hard to ignore. The loneliness that had been her constant companion was now replaced by something more dangerous, hope. Cole treated her like an equal, not a charity case. He taught her how to mend fences the easy way, how to read weather from the clouds, how to talk to the horses. He never looked at her belly with judgment, only quiet respect. Sometimes, she caught him watching her when he thought she wasn't looking. There was warmth in his eyes, and sorrow too. A man who'd lost, but hadn't stopped living. One evening, after supper, Emma lingered on the porch while the sun slipped behind the hills. Cole joined her, leaning on the railing. "You've done a fine job, Emma," he said. "The place looks better than it has in years." She smiled faintly. "Feels good to work again. Keeps the mind from wandering." He nodded. "I know that feeling." Silence settled between them, soft but comfortable. The only sound was the creak of the porch boards and the song of a meadowlark in the distance. Then, after a while, Cole spoke again. "I've been thinking, this land's more than one man can handle alone. Been that way since my Martha passed. I figure it could use another set of hands. Someone who understands what it means to fight for it." Emma turned to him slowly. "What are you saying?" He met her gaze. "I'm saying maybe this don't have to be just my land anymore. Maybe it could be ours." Her breath caught. "Cole." He held up a hand. "I ain't asking for your heart if it ain't ready. I just," he hesitated, voice rough. "You and that baby deserve more than loneliness. And I reckon I could use some laughter around here again." Tears welled in her eyes. For months, she'd built her walls high, thinking love was a door that had closed forever. But this man had knocked not with words, but with kindness, quiet, steady, unyielding. "Cole," she whispered, "I don't know if I can love again." He gave a small smile. "Then just start with staying." The wind moved softly through the grass, carrying the scent of wild sage. For a long time, she said nothing. Then she reached for his hand. His fingers were rough, warm, real. "All right," she said. "I'll stay." The baby kicked right then, as if approving. Cole laughed, a deep, genuine laugh that echoed across the porch and into her heart. Weeks passed, and the days fell into rhythm. Mornings fixing fences, evenings by the fire. She learned his quiet humor, his steady patience. He learned her strength, her stubborn streak, her secret laughter that came like spring rain. One night, the storm rolled in hard and sudden. Rain pounded the roof, lightning split the sky, and Emma's labor began. Cole found her gripping the edge of the bed, breath coming in ragged gasps. Cole, she cried, it's time. Oh God, it's time. Panic flashed across his face for only a moment before he moved into action. He boiled water, brought blankets, whispered reassurance though his hands trembled. You're all right, Emma. You're strong. You got this. Hours blurred into eternity. The wind howled outside, rattling the windows, but inside the little house, something beautiful broke through the storm. A newborn's cry, sharp and full of life. Emma sobbed, clutching the tiny bundle to her chest. It's a boy, she whispered. Cole knelt beside her, eyes shining. He's perfect. The child's small fist curled around Cole's finger, and something shifted between them, something final and sacred. Emma looked at him through tears. I don't have much to give, Cole. Just a heart that's been through hell. He smiled softly. That's the kind worth keeping. The storm faded, leaving behind a quiet that felt like grace. Months later, when spring painted the valley green again, the double M looked different. Laughter drifted from the porch where Emma sat with her baby, Jacob Cole McAllister, named for both the men who'd shaped her life. Cole was out by the barn, mending a gate, but his eyes kept drifting back to them, to the woman who'd brought the ranch back to life. Emma watched him, her heart finally at peace. She'd come to this land broken and afraid, fixing fences with bare hands, holding herself together with pride and pain. But the lonely rancher had offered her more than his land. He'd offered her belonging, forgiveness, and the courage to love again. That night, as the stars shimmered above the valley, Emma stepped out into the cool air, baby asleep in her arms. Cole joined her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. Remember what you told me that first day? He asked softly. You said you wanted peace. She smiled, leaning into him. And I found it, right here. He kissed her forehead. You fixed more than fences, darlin'. You fixed me. The wind whispered through the grass like a hymn, carrying their laughter across the land that was now truly theirs. And in the stillness, beneath the endless western sky, two hearts once shattered by loss beat together again, strong, steady, and home.